guys, welcome to Inside Military Esports, presented by Navy Federal Credit Union. IME features stories about active duty service members and veterans, esports teams and players, game industry insiders, streamers, influencers, and more. I'm Jamie Kenton, coming to you from the Esports Lounge at GameWorks at the Mall of America, the premier entertainment location for gamers in the Twin Cities. Join my co-host Jeromy Smith and me as we go inside the world of military esports. Today, Jeromy gets to know a gamer with a passion for FIFA and good sportsmanship. The Navy Federal Credit Union Spotlight shines on the founder of Brigade Esports. We'll talk to a veteran who co-founded an organization to help other vets struggling with mental health issues. And we'll meet a Counter-Strike fanatic who overcame his depression with support from fellow veterans and the gaming community. Let's go inside military esports with my co-host, Jeromy Smith.
I am here today with a professional FIFA player. Could you introduce yourself for us?
Most people know me as T-Bone or T-Bone Capone on my YouTube and Twitch channels.
You served in the military, correct?
I was an aircraft scheduler 2R, and we just did aircraft maintenance. So we were in charge of all like inspections, time changes, all that kind of stuff on the aircraft. And it's almost like I had two careers, right? I had my first career where it was active duty, joined in 89, got out in 99. I was done with it, done with the military. Then I had a cousin who was in the towers. His name's Christopher Fawnin, September 11th. And I joined the Colorado Air National Guard and was enlisted by December. And then when I came back in with purpose. And I totally excelled and shot up and took it real serious. And so that's why I say it's like two different careers entirely. Because if you look at the first part of my career, not necessarily the most proud. I did a lot of good things, but second half, I really rock started out, and I'm very happy with that.
What made you want to join?
Direction. I'll tell you right now, I came from a kind of a troubled home, and I think a lot of military members, I think, have some similar experiences because you tend to see them gravitate towards each other once you join a new unit, and the younger troops kind of find that common factor with their past. But if there's anything that military did provide me, it was direction, and that's what I needed, and so that's why I joined for sure. And it was a great experience. There's a lot to it, of course. So
were you a gamer all that time that you were in the service?
Oh, I was. I was, man, because, I was stationed at Cannon. There was nothing to do. We played 3-on-3 basketball, and then we gamed it up, and of course I had to get good at Madden so I could talk trash to all the new troops coming in.
So what got you into FIFA? How did that whole start?
It's funny because it started the first time I was in active duty. I had my cousins would visit me in New Mexico, and again, nothing to do. So we would just play FIFA. It wouldn't be online or anything, but FIFA, man, I just found my passion, and I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Glory, glory, Man United. I'm competitive, and I got hurt when I was in the military, a little bit of a freak accident. I was on the base basketball teams. You know what I'm saying? I played at the higher levels of basketball, and I loved it. But when you get hurt, where do you put your competitive juices? Where does that go? And we all cope with our own demons, but finding that competitive edge somewhere else, that's what FIFA has done for me and the community. So sorry, I get a little emotional, man, because it's tough sometimes. Doing this is really, to an extent, has saved my life, I believe.
We found that the veteran community, the gaming community, even though there's that competitive nature there's a lot of camaraderie as well.
We have mutual interests. We get to hang out, and it's a fun, good time. And it's a non-toxic environment. No racism. Again, something the military teaches you. It's not black, white, yellow. It doesn't matter what color. It doesn't matter what gender. What matters is the uniform and the badges. That's what's up, and it's about respect. I want to build a community in a safe environment, and I want to build something special. And I really am building something special with this pro clubs environment that FIFA provides you. I'm the gaffer for CF Capone. I'm the coach. And I'm dealing with very young kids sometimes, but they teach me as much as I teach them. and I learn on a daily basis. And I tell you what, those kids that don the badge for CF Capone, I am so proud of them, man, because they have grown so much this year.
All right, T-Bone, thanks for taking some time with us on Inside Military Esports to talk about your military career and coaching in FIFA.
I appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Again, I got to give a shout out to my boys at CF Capone, especially SAS645. He is the director of player personnel for our club. We are adding an academy this year. So if you're a veteran and you're looking for a place to go, we got a home for you at CF Capone. Hit us up.
Navy Federal Credit Union, proudly serving the armed forces, veterans, and their families for over 85 years. Our members are the mission. Insured by NCUA.
On every episode of Inside Military Esports, Navy Federal Credit Union presents our Spotlight segment. Here's Jeremy Smith with this week's Navy Federal Credit Union Spotlight.
Hi, Daniel. Thanks for joining us on the show today. If you could just introduce yourself for our audience, give us a little background on your military service.
My name is Daniel Crothers. I am the founder of Brigade Esports. I spent 6 years in the Army as a military police. Spent a year in Afghanistan. I've been a gamer all my life. I have a lot of friends who are played at a very high level in different sports, esports. Last January, one of my good friends, John, who's a GC in Rocket League, he came to me and talked to me about how he wanted to get more serious, more competitive in the esports side. And me as a businessman who'd been doing business my entire life, it was a good fit to kind of start an esports org and kind of grow a nice place for veterans and civilians to come and compete and press on from there. And that's how basically we got our started. It's very humble roots, so to speak. Kind of went from there. We've grown from there to we have a iRacing.com driver, Casey Tucker. We have an all-military veteran Overwatch team. We have an all-military veteran Siege team currently. And we're kind of growing from there. And the success we've had so far from the esports community, from people who are, pro-military, pro-veteran, has been astounding and amazing.
So how did you decide to start sponsoring esports teams? How do you recruit people to join your esports teams? How does that whole thing work?
We have a very simple recruiting strategy. We find high-level players. We get them into the mix. We get them excited, and we kind of figure out who they play with. Because usually higher level players play with other higher level players. It's kind of how they grow and they get better. So it's from there, it's kind of an easy way to connect the dots and form out a good team. That's been our recruiting strategy. And we prioritize potential. We want to find people who are the up and comers versus kind of buying somebody off the shelf, if you will. We get to build in a level of loyalty and kind of commitment, and help build them up to that point where they hit those metrics of success. We take care of our players. We do everything we can to nurture them and push them forward and teach them a lot of things in the process.
So on top of being involved with developing players, Brigade Esports is also involved with some nonprofit organizations. Correct.
Last year we released Operation Vanguard. From what we see, it's an esports first. Basically, we are guaranteeing 10% of merchandise profit and 5% of all other profit that the company makes every year to a veteran and military charity. This year, that nonprofit is Stack Up, and trying to kind of bring awareness to them, but also provide financial support that they need. It's very important to a lot of us, and you'll see a lot of the same sort of, some sort of charitable aspect to a lot of different veteran orgs.
Brigade Esports sponsors an iRacing car, and for people that don't know, iRacing is just like real life racing. It's recognized by real racing organizations like F1, like NASCAR. You give basically a spot on the car to that charity organization, just like a real sponsor would on a real NASCAR.
Correct. With Operation Vanguard, it's not just about, like I said, there's two sides. We obviously want to offer as much financial support as we can provide, but also awareness. The Operation Vanguard charity has a spot on our jerseys. They have a spot on our site. They're in all of our marketing. We want to make sure that we're providing for them as much as possible and pushing them as much as possible because they are great organizations.
How would you summarize the mission statement for Brigade Esports?
The internal mission statement for us is do the right thing. But of course, the way we do that is through competition. We do it through play. We have a place for veterans and non-veterans to call home and compete. We are looking to be a top-tier esports organization, a household name, if you will. It will take a while. It will get us there, but we are passionate and we are pushing forward to that objective. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we do the right thing along the way with Operation Vanguard, how we take care of our players, so our fans can be, not just proud of our success we have, but of who we are and what our brand story is.
If any of our viewers are interested in following Brigade Esports, what's the best way to follow you guys and your teams?
The best way to get a hold of us and to kind of reach out our content is at Brigade GG on Twitter. That's all of our messaging is kind of put across there. We also have a Discord, which you can find that link on our profile on Twitter as well. A new website is being developed right now, which is brigade.gg, which will provide even more content. And we're trying to do a lot of things to provide more connection to the players and to the organization, to our fans. Trying to kind of bridge that gap between, hey, I like this team and, I'm one of their fans, to being more involved in kind of the whole process.
Well, thanks again for taking the time to sit down with us today. Tell us a little bit about yourself and about Brigade Esports.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, guys.
Any parting messages for our viewers?
Go Brigade.
The transition from military life to civilian life isn't always easy. Things like mental health, PTSD, and depression come into play. With our next guest, we'll talk a little bit more about this issue. Joining us now is a mental health advocate. Would you care to introduce yourself for us?
Yeah, how's it going? My name is Elvis Walden. I'm a former Marine and Army veteran. I am the co-founder of Unknown Soldier Mental Health, USMH, and big gamer, big veteran.
Can you tell us a little bit about your time in the service?
So initially I joined the Marine Corps at 17 years old. I graduated early out of high school just so I could hurry up and be gung-ho and join. I was shot in the knee, got out, immediately re-enlisted into the Army, and from there I was a 35 Fox all-source intelligence analyst for a number of years and multiple deployments as well.
All right, so what did you do as part of that deployment?
So far as deployments is intelligence analyst skills, I take all different forms of intelligence gathering, so images, satellite, intercepted messages, either written or through radio signals, and so on and so forth. And I pretty much compile all the information together and give the commander a briefing and a 3D image of the battlefield, so to speak.
And were you a gamer before you joined?
Absolutely. I've been playing Mario. My first console actually was Atari 2600. My first computer was an Apple II computer, and I remember playing Jeopardy on it, those giant floppy disks. And I've been hooked ever since then. I love a good challenge and I love a good puzzle.
Did you get a chance to play much while you were in the service?
On my deployments, I took 3 different Xbox 360s. The dirt and sand kept destroying the consoles while there. But yeah, we played a lot of Skyrim. I put tons and tons of hours on Skyrim. We had a lot of gaming competitions when we get back to the site. It was a lot of good fun, a lot of good morale boosting.
So can you tell us a little bit about USMH, how it started?
So Unknown Soldier Mental Health is actually a relatively new nonprofit that myself and my co-founder, who's also a veteran, created. I created this entire suicide prevention program built into a service called Discord. If you're not familiar with it, it's a chat messaging video service that they have on practically everything, including the Xbox. So people can hop into our server 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and actually get suicide prevention care. All of our individuals are trained through Psych Armor for crisis intervention. In 2018 alone, we helped save 82 lives of individuals reaching into our Discord servers, all veterans. I sit on several committees now with the American Association of Suicidology. I've done work with the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention, as well as several others. I sit on their innovation teams. I actually worked with the VA's innovation team as well to help them connect with the post 9/11 veterans and the younger veterans group. So we actually have held game nights inside VA hospitals. So doing things like this have allowed us to really expand deeper into what the VA's mission is, what our mission is, and just overall helping everybody that we can in the process.
When you left the service, what made you decide to start this organization? What led you to where you're at now?
I was forcibly discharged because of medical reasons. I wounded pretty badly. I also found out at the time my ex-wife had an affair while I was deployed. So losing the career that I had loved since the age of 17 and seeing the lives that I helped, and then finding out that my partner was having an affair, it felt like my whole world was crumbling around me. not including my PTSD and night terrors that I was dealing with. It was kind of really heavy on me. I shut myself out from the world. I didn't want to talk to anybody. My family was concerned, and I just kind of blew everybody off. And then I started slowly getting back into World of Warcraft. That was the big thing for me. The things with games like World of Warcraft is community-based. You have to interact with other people in order to progress the story, progress your rating, and so on and so forth. So as I started talking with people, I realized there's a lot of other veterans that are playing. And we're swapping stories, war stories, and I realized there's a lot of power in gaming and a lot of power in the gaming community itself. You know, use it as a tool in the war and mental health. Just the fact that I'm able to still serve my country, I may not be putting on a uniform every day. I may not be strapping my boots on and carrying a rifle, but I'm still serving the people of this country. And for me, that's a big thing. That's what I love about it.
We really appreciate you sitting down with us today on Inside Military Esports to talk about a serious topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. You know, anytime I get a chance to spread the word, the gospel, so to speak, I'm happy to do it.
When we come back, we'll meet a veteran who had some difficulties adjusting to civilian life when he left the service. He'll tell us about how the gaming community helped him out. Navy Federal Credit Union, proudly serving the armed forces, veterans, and their families for over 85 years. Our members are the mission. Insured by NCUA. So I'm here today with another Jeromy, spelled a little bit different, but thanks for taking the time to talk to us today.
Anytime, Jeromy. Always glad to be here.
Yeah, so for our audience, if we could have you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your military background.
Corporal Jeromy Lee Joye. I was in the United States Marine Corps from 2008 until 2013. I was with 1st Battalion, 10th Marines, in 2nd Marine Division. I went to Afghanistan with 110, but I was also with 3rd Battalion. I pretty much went all around 10th Marines. Got out in 2013 and immediately went to work with the Marines, just in a civilian capacity. So I work as a housing inspector for the Military Housing Office on Cherry Point.
Were you a gamer when you joined the service?
I've been a gamer for ever since I booted up an Atari 2600. So when I went to Afghanistan, we got together, secured a platoon, and imported us a Wii because Wii Sports was life. Now, the desert didn't like the Wii very much at all. So, RIP, that Wii never made it back. Let me have a minute for that one. I played a lot of Smash Brothers Melee. I played a lot of like Secret of Mana, the only RPG I was ever good at, but really loved Counter-Strike, really loved Team Fortress 2 when it came out, but didn't start getting back into games until after I got out.
And what do you play now?
Right now, I'm kind of in that weird transition. My wife has authorized the funds to build a gaming PC, so I'm actually going to get to actually have a reliable stream. I want to do Counter-Strike. I do love Counter-Strike. It's chess with guns, and I love it.
So how has playing video games helped you in your life?
You know, right when I got out, I had a lot of problems with, alcoholism. I had a lot of problems with post-traumatic stress disorder, and I was at a real low point in my life. I had some really great Marines that I worked with that helped me through it. They were very, very good as far as keeping me on track and understanding the situation because they've been there. So I had this process of, rebuilding myself, of saying, you know what, the old way wasn't working. It was leading nowhere. So I was like, let me get back into things that I enjoyed, things that I knew were me. And video games was one of them. It helped me find, the courage to be outgoing again, because I had a very big problem with being very introverted and holding everything in because, all Marines were hard asses. We don't like to show weakness at all. And I think that's any of the service members, male or female. We just don't want to admit when we need help. And video games helped me open up to people, really got me out of it. And it's brought me here today where I'm enjoying life. I have another child who just turned 2. I have a 7-year-old who just turned 7. I got really lucky with the July birthdays. They get fireworks every year. And, being able to show them games like Smash Brothers or games like anything on the Super Nintendo or the Nintendo.
If you could go back in time and give your younger self some advice, or for any of our viewers, when you were struggling with PTSD and depression, what would that advice be?
I think that message is is different for everyone. I think that when you're dealing with being suicidal or you're dealing with post-traumatic stress, I know for me, what I had to do was just look at it and say that it's not your fault, that you did what you could, and that I would have gotten help a lot sooner, but find what works for you and, reach out and make a call, any call. Just being able to talk and say, look, I'm not having a good day, and here's why. Even if you are in a low point in your life, things get better.
What have you found as you're playing games and interacting online through things like Twitch and Twitter? What have you found in the veteran gaming community?
I found that when I do see vets, that we get along really, really well. We all know that we play games because I've seen the barracks. So I know we're there, but now we're coming through the magic of the internet and linking up in outer space. And I think that we can do great things in the esports world. And I think that's the beautiful thing about the veteran gaming community.
Well, from one Jeromy to another, thanks for taking the time to sit down with us today.
Hey, anytime, Jeromy.
That's all for this episode of Inside Military Esports, presented by Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. As always, we want to thank our active duty service members and veterans for all that you do. On behalf of Jamie Kinton and the rest of the Inside Military Esports crew, I'm Jeromy Smith. Thanks for watching.